powered by the Zapata Brand Studio. This is Straight Outta JerZey with Jersey Jay-Z.
What's up, guys? Joe Zapata here, Straight Outta JerZey, and I'm here with the daughter of WWE Hall of Fame wrestler Sergeant Slaughter, Kelly Remus. What's up, Kelly?
Hey, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I feel like I should salute.
Well, you look great, by the way. You look great.
Thank you. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. So I wanted to start out and ask, so who was Kelly as a young child?
Oh, Kelly was very mischievous and rebellious
Really?
and had a mind of her own and was not to be messed with.
Really?
Yeah, I would say, um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't think no one would really want to mess with you because your dad is a very large man. People don't realize how
He
big he
is.
is.
Yes.
I think he's what, 6'5", maybe?
Well, he's billed at 6'6",
Okay.
but we know how that goes.
Yes, in the world of wrestling, yes.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah. So what was your earliest childhood memory realizing your dad was not your ordinary dad?
So I remember I didn't always know. Like it's not like someone told me at some point in time, and I can't remember how I found out or how I came to the realization that he was a professional wrestler. Um, I don't remember. I just one day I knew and I
Mhm.
brought my friends from the neighborhood. My dad was always gone. He was never home.
Yes.
And he was home one morning and I went and got all of my friends and I was like, "My dad's home. Do you want to meet him?" And so I brought them into the bedroom where he was sleeping, nude, by the
Oh
way.
no.
And I said, "See, my dad tells the story that he said all of a sudden he could hear me whispering, 'He does exist.'"
Oh God. Well, was that
And he like pulled the sheet up and was like, "Diane," which was my mom.
well, was it tough because he's out there entertaining me as a child and all the other kids, but he's not home with you? Was that kind of tough?
It was, but at the same time, I didn't know any different.
Hmm.
So it was a little tough, but because I didn't know any different, it was tough maybe in the ways of like father-daughter dances. My dad
Hmm.
maybe not be able to attend, and I would have to go with like one of his friends or things like that.
Hmm.
But he was wrestling since before I was born. So
Hmm. Yeah. Most girls play with Barbies. The boys play with GI Joes. And your dad was a GI Joe. He was a cartoon. Did you watch him on the cartoons?
I did watch him on the
Okay.
cartoons and I watched the movie and all of
Okay.
that. And
Hmm.
I did have his GI Joes and the
Okay.
Triple T.
Hmm.
I did not play with them that much. I did play with Barbies and
Okay.
I loved my Barbies. And um, GI Joe was not to scale with Barbie,
That's
so I
true.
didn't like play with them together because for
Mhm.
me they had to be scale, I guess.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, but also like my Barbies like went on dates and like kissed and stuff like that, and like it would be really weird if I was like playing with my dad and like he was like kissing my Barbies and stuff. Like that'd be weird.
Yeah, it definitely it would be. So when he was home, I'm sure he wasn't that drill instructor person we saw on TV, correct?
No, absolutely not. Sarge wasn't allowed in the house.
Oh, really? Your mom said no,
No.
Sarge. No?
My mom said no, Sarge. My dad got like this basement room that was his office, and that's
Mhm.
where all of his memorabilia and posters and like magazine covers and things like that's where that was. It
Mhm.
wasn't in the, main part of the house, but Sarge was not allowed in the
Mm.
house.
Did
Mm-mm.
your schoolmates and your teachers, especially, did they know who your dad was growing up? Did you get treated differently?
I definitely got treated differently by the kids.
Okay.
Um, And even some adults,
Hmm.
but probably not in the way that you think I would have, more like being like made fun of a little bit for who my
Okay.
dad was. And I was
Hmm.
also, bigger as a child and overweight and things like that. So I got made fun of for that too. And
No.
I was also, to be fair, like I was also like super proud of my dad
Hmm.
and probably boastful and like annoying in that way.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So,
Yes.
like, I'm sure the kids got sick of it. And I'm sure I was like, do you know who my dad is? All the time. So, when I was younger.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Living up in that world, they back then, especially, it was sort of real. We all believed it was real. They kept that kayfabe alive. Did you know that your dad was not getting hurt, or did you say, I don't know?
my dad used to tell us that he was dancing. And so we would come up and he'd be watching videos of himself, like studying tapes. And
Okay.
I'd like come up behind him and he would turn it off right away. And I'd be like, well, what were you doing? And he's like, I was dancing. I was just dancing. And then when I found out what he did for a living and that he wasn't actually dancing, he was wrestling,
Hmm.
then it was, a little bit different then. But I do sometimes wonder how many people, when they were like, what does your dad do? And I'm like, he's a dancer.
Yeah. I remember going to the Meadowlands here in New Jersey many times, and I remember like it was yesterday. I remember your dad was showed up to the arena in a real limo. Did he really own a limousine camouflage limo?
Yes, and it was parked when we lived in Connecticut. We had a long driveway and it was very private and windy, and it was
Hmm.
parked like on our driveway right before you got to our house.
Really?
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
that's really cool. Did you go to the arenas and watch your dad wrestle?
We did a few times when we were younger, my sister and I, and we didn't have the best experience. And not because of anything that was going on backstage, but because we were too young really to
Okay.
watch him wrestling because
Wrestling and everything.
we were too young to be smart to the business. We weren't smart to the business, kind of going
Yeah.
back to what your question was before.
Yes.
And it really wasn't until we he became the Iraqi sympathizer that
Yeah.
I found out of the truth about wrestling.
Hmm.
And but before that, the Iron Sheik and my dad had a wrestling match.
Hmm.
And, my sister and I knew Sheik as being like a friend of the family and like a friend of my dad's. And so all of a sudden they're like wrestling in front of us, and Sheik had a weapon, and like it was the ref couldn't find it. And the audience, the whole storytelling, the
Yes.
audience is telling him it's in the boot. The ref's checking the belt. Sheik puts it from his boot to his belt. The ref is checking his boot, that whole thing. So he never finds the weapon and they start wrestling. And now my sister and I are thinking he's about to get murdered by his friend right in front of us. Like, what is going on?
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
So we had that experience. My mom was furious at my father for that.
Hmm.
And so we didn't go to matches for quite some time. We did go to other events with my dad, but it was probably more when we were older and when he was like commissioner that
Okay.
we really started going to events again.
Hmm.
Um, but we would go to like big things every now and then if it was somewhere close to us. Because remember, we were also in school,
Hmm.
and if it was somewhere close, then
Then
we
you would
would
go.
go. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, when he turned, the Iraqi sympathizer, that was pretty big. And I did hear that you guys got death threats real because people really hated him. Was that true? Yeah.
Yes, we
Oh boy.
did get death threats. And it wasn't just death threats on my dad, it was death threats on the whole family
Oh
and
wow.
on the WWE offices and on Vince and Vince's family.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, we had security living in an RV outside of our home. They followed us everywhere. They had installed, I think they had wanted to install like surveillance cameras in the house, but my mom was like, absolutely not.
Hmm.
So they had like audio in the house. So
Oh.
if they could hear if somebody had gotten past their security and got in the house, or like if we were in distress or anything like that. But it was pretty serious. And my mom, I think, didn't want it to interfere with our lives too much. And so they had to keep a distance. It's not like we were surrounded with security or anything like that. But
Hmm. Wow.
yeah, Vince paid for all of that for us.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I hope so. Did your dad
Yeah,
sit down with you and say, "Hey, I'm turning bad. This is what might happen. This is gonna." Did he explain it to you, dad, to sit down with you guys and tell you what might happen?
he did.
Okay.
He I remember it vividly. I remember where I was sitting at the dining room table.
Hmm.
Um, and he told us that this was this new thing that he was going to be doing, and that, it wasn't real. It wasn't really, he didn't really believe these things. We were going to be hearing things that he was going to say, and that he still loved America, and,
Hmm.
all of these things. And
Hmm.
that we would see pictures of him with people that weren't real, and things like that. And to kind of be wary of what the reaction of the public. I
Hmm.
don't know if they knew how big of a reaction they were going to get.
Hmm.
um but it also, when they first started it, I don't think there was a war yet. Like,
No.
there was no,
No.
it was just like some conflict and some
Yeah.
tension. And
Hmm.
then when the war actually was like happening,
Hmm.
that, I think they were like, uh-oh.
Yeah, there was. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because your dad was doing everything with the flag, like, they were burning it and doing everything. So I mean, he got a lot of heat really bad.
yeah, yeah. Now, he never burned the flag. They did say on air that he burned it
Yeah.
backstage, and my dad was like furious with them for
Okay.
saying that, because he didn't do that. But he did. They wanted him to burn the flag.
Yeah.
And he said no, and he was like, "How about I'll burn like a piece of Americana instead, and I'll burn a Hulkamania shirt."
Yeah. Yes. Maybe. Yeah. That's what he did. Hulkamania.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
that's what he did.
Yeah. Now,
Hmm.
obviously, him and Hulk Hogan, big feud. Did you meet Hulk Hogan when we lost him? A couple years ago. But did you meet him?
I was trying to remember if I ever met him. If I did meet him, I probably didn't know who like Hulk Hogan was.
Okay.
Like, it was just, I was meeting one of my dad's coworkers like backstage, like
Hmm.
another wrestler, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, I don't,
Yeah.
because I had, it would have been when I was younger.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but not in my older years, when I would be like, "Oh my God, I met The Rock, and I met Ric Flair, and I met," like, once I like knew more about the
Yes.
who was the wrestlers were.
Hmm.
Roddy Piper was Uncle Roddy for a long time, and I didn't know he wrestled. And same
Hmm.
with Don Kernodle. Don was
Don
just
Canoodle.
Uncle Don,
Hmm.
and I didn't know he wrestled either, or his brother. And I remember them telling me that they wrestled, and I was like, "No, you don't. You do not." They were like, "Yes, we do. We wrestle with your dad." I'm like, "No, you don't."
No, no, you
Don was
don't.
like, "Oh, we've won championships together, Kelly." And I
Yes.
was like, "No."
100%. I mean, your dad was like a cultural icon in the '80s because of the GI Joe made him. Every kid was watching him on cartoons. You know, I mean, did that feel weird seeing him on the cartoons like we were talking about?
I mean, it was, I feel like if I was older and he all of a sudden became Sergeant Slaughter, and all of a sudden
Mm,
became this figure and was in G.I. Joe, I would have been more like, "Oh my God, my dad's in G.I. Joe. He's got this figure. This is awesome." But because it was just a normal part of life,
mhm.
I kind of feel bad for my dad, because my sister and I weren't excited. Like, I remember him showing us the G.I. Joe, and we were like, "Yeah, that's cool. Like, whatever. Can I go back to watching my
Yeah,
show? Or,
yeah,
can I
exactly.
go back to playing Barbies, please?" Like,
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah.
I've met your dad. I've met your dad many times actually, and he was always a great guy. He's very, personable. Very big. When he finally was in the Hall of Fame and got inducted to the Hall of Fame, were you there when he was in the Hall of Fame and got inducted?
I was there when he was inducted into the
And
Hall of Fame. That was
how
in New
was that
York
whole
City.
experience?
That was an amazing experience. It was really neat to listen to his peers talk about him, and how much that they had been inspired by him, and just hearing stories from people. And um, I've never heard another wrestler or anyone in the business ever say anything negative about my dad.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, so anyone that I've met in person, they've
Uh,
never said anything bad about my dad.
yeah.
It's always been praise and gratefulness, and everyone's saying that, like, hey, if it wasn't for your dad, like, this wouldn't have happened, or
Mhm.
he helped me through this, or um, you
Yeah.
know, things, yeah, good
Yeah. Have a good
things.
time. Now you went through an interesting little journey too. Like I saw some of your pictures from 2019 to where you are now, where you could probably get in the ring right now the way you look. I was surprised getting your business a little bit, what happened? I mean, you now started working out and everything. I'm into the bodybuilding lifestyle and I have friends with all the Olympias. How did that transition? What was going on?
So I'd always been big my whole life,
Yep.
and the pandemic happened,
Okay.
and my weight had always been yo-yoing, but it was
Hmm.
always like when it would go up, it would be even more so, and then I
Hmm.
wouldn't lose as much, and then I'd gain even more and not lose as much, and then two very large pregnancies.
Hmm.
So I mean, I was tipping the scale at around 320, and I am guessing at that number because I have like one of those old school medical scales, and that you like tick
Yeah,
it over
yeah.
and then you
Mhm.
like, yeah. And it goes up to 300. And I was over that. And
Yeah.
so I don't know exactly how much over 300 pounds I was. So I
Mhm.
guess that I was 320 based on how long it took me to start showing up on the scale.
Mhm.
Um, so it was, believe it or not, it was COVID is what caused me to start this weight loss journey. In the beginning of COVID, the high risk factor was morbid obesity. And there I was morbidly obese with a baby and a 6-year old. And there was no way that I was going to let this virus take me away from my kids because I sat around too much and ate too much.
Mhm.
I mean, it was too much too
Yep.
much calorie intake and not enough burning of those calories. So I started walking, and I started walking my neighborhood, and I could only go 5 mailboxes. And then I turned around and went home. And then the next day I went 7 mailboxes and went home. And then the next day I just kept adding mailboxes until I could like start clocking it at like a half a mile, and I worked up to 6 miles a day, pushing my daughter in the stroller.
Mhm.
Um, I had my little outfits and I had my shoes, and because when I started, I didn't have any of that. Like I think I started that 5 mailboxes in Birkenstocks because I didn't even have
Wow.
like walking shoes.
Wow.
Excuse me.
No problem.
Um, so, a friend of mine, the YMCA opened up right down the street from where we live, and a friend of mine reached out because I'd been posting about my fitness journey. I did like a 25 push-up challenge, or like a month of push-ups or something like that. And so I was posting all of this on my socials.
Mhm.
And a friend of mine reached out and was like, "Hey, would you like to go to the Y with me?" And so I was like, "Sure." So I went to a class with her. It was a weightlifting class. And so I did that. And then I really liked it. And I liked how I felt afterwards. And so I went and did a cardio class. And then I liked that. And just started going to classes, and it
Mm.
just then I became an instructor and got certified in 3 different formats of Les Mills. Started teaching that. I became the fitness coordinator at the Y.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
like, yeah, I was all in. And then in that weightlifting class that I was
Mhm.
in,
Mhm.
it's called Body Pump.
Okay.
And I started getting comments from people because would get too much weight. Like they wanted some of the weight that I had, but I was like, but I'm going to use all this weight. Like, you
Mhm.
can't have it. I need it. And then that's when I decided, like, I think maybe I should be lifting like downstairs instead
Mhm.
of like in this class.
Mhm.
And so then I got a coach and all of that. And so then I started lifting heavier things.
Yeah. I mean, and it looks like, you look so great. I think lost 150 pounds or something like around there.
At this point right now, I've lost about like 143 pounds.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
thank you.
How's your
Thanks.
diet? What do you high protein?
High protein and fiber. I probably don't have the best nutrition, to be
Okay.
honest with you.
Hmm.
I do like a lot of protein shakes and like protein like processed products that also
Okay.
have, they're like keto friendly, even though I'm not necessarily keto, but they have a
Yep.
lot of fiber in them
Hmm.
because I want protein, fiber, and then I concentrate on my water intake.
Yep.
I take creatine, um, and that's pretty much it. Like my pre-workout is like a Alani.
That's good though.
Right. I'm like, I really feel like I could like have like a much better physique if I
Yeah.
really like cut into like my food and like my nutrition and like really was more serious about those things and
Hmm.
pre-workout and like all of that. But I just don't. I just do my thing.
Yeah. I mean, you look absolutely great. And it came to a
Thank
point where
you.
I was like, did you ever consider maybe getting into that crazy world of wrestling?
When I was a little girl, I wanted to be a wrestler. And what I saw of women in wrestling back at that time, which was like the early 80s,
Yeah.
was Glow. And they
Okay.
were great. The gorgeous ladies of wrestling were
Listen.
wonderful.
Hmm.
However, that's not what I wanted to do because I felt like it was, to me, it was campy. And like I wanted to be, I didn't feel like they were taken seriously.
Hmm.
It was like a show for the men basically. And
Yeah.
it's funny that as a little girl I caught on to that,
Hmm.
not really even having the language for that back then.
Yep.
um but in the wrestling that my dad was doing, the women that I saw there were managers and arm candy, and they
Hmm.
weren't wrestling. Like,
Hmm.
I wanted to be taken seriously. I wanted to be doing what my dad was doing. I wanted to be wrestling the men. And my dad was like, "What? No, you're not going to go wrestle men. Like, no, that's
Really.
not happening."
Hmm.
He never really said no, but he did not encourage me. My mom didn't want my dad to be a wrestler. So she
Hmm.
definitely wasn't encouraging me. And
Hmm.
then, like I said, my health, or not my health, but my fitness, I was an overweight child. I didn't have the
Hmm.
physique. I wasn't into fitness. I wasn't working out. um, so that dream kind of like went to the wayside. And so when started my fitness journey, I was like 40. And now that I've, you know what my body can do, and I see
Hmm.
how powerful my body is, and just how amazing that would have been had I followed in my father's footsteps. Like, I
Yep.
do kind of like feel like I really missed out on an opportunity to be able to do that. I mean, who knows? Maybe
Who
I
knows?
would have
Yeah.
tried it and I would have sucked at it. Like, who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
I'll never know because I feel like I'm a little too old to do it now.
Yeah. But you look great. And like Charlotte Flair,
Thank you.
Ric Flair's daughter is in it. The Rock's daughter tried it. So it's the next generation of all the kids that are coming up trying it. Well, you never
Yeah.
know. You never know. You can get in there.
I wouldn't say never.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I would never try it. I was actually talking to my dad. I was like, I mean, it might be cool if I just learned like one match for like a charity thing, like a one-off kind of thing. Listen, I was running through my house last year and I stubbed my toe and broke it. I can't imagine trying to take a bump. Like, I might break my back. Like,
Oh, Jesus.
that's scary,
Hmm. Hmm.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Yeah.
think I'm
You,
pushing 50.
oh, look at you got a great name too, Slaughter Daughter. You could be the Slaughter
Slaughter
Daughter.
daughter. Yeah. He could be my manager. It would be
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I would have a lot of fun. It would be a good bonding experience with me and my dad.
Hmm.
I would love to do that. I
Yeah. That'd be
just
really
don't
cool.
know that it's in my cards at
Hmm.
this point in time.
Yeah. Now your dad goes to a lot of the conventions. I always see him here in New York and Jersey. Do you go to conventions with him at all?
I don't go to a lot of conventions with him. I will if they're local,
Okay.
and I can get away if I'm not working or
Okay.
have something going on with my kids.
With the kids and stuff.
Yeah. But I do try to go to Joe Fest, which is in Augusta, Georgia.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, I try to go to Joe Fest. I've only been able to make it to two, but I am planning on being at the next Joe Fest, which is it's the end of June next
Hmm.
year.
Oh wow. I don't know how
Yeah.
old your kids are, but do they know who Grandpa is?
Yes.
They
Yep,
do.
they
Okay.
know who Grandpa is. They also are like, that's okay, that's
That's
cool.
yeah. They see his figure. They see his figure in like Target or something. Like no, that's
Yeah.
grandpa.
Oh, that I mean, they think it's cool,
Okay.
but it's just grandpa to them, just like he was just dad to us.
Yeah.
And
Hmm. Hmm.
we definitely did use his celebrity to our advantage sometimes. Where we live in Charlotte, North Carolina, is an amusement park called Carowinds. And we would go to Carowinds with my dad, and people would recognize
Oh,
him.
of
And
course.
so then
Yeah.
he would have like a mob of people around him, and then
Hmm.
all the there'd be no lines. And so then we'd go ride all the rides. And then if we like wanted to get into a line and it was long, we'd be like, hey, did you know Sergeant Slaughter is out there signing autographs? And kids would be like, what? And then they'd go run and we'd be like, yay, we get to the
Hmm.
front of the line.
That's pretty funny. That's really good. You know, when he was the commissioner, that's the time probably you remember him more. Did you get a chance to meet Vince McMahon by any chance?
Yes, I've met Vince a few times.
And
I've
how was
met
he?
Vince behind backstage and I've met him at the offices in Stanford. Um, he was a businessman, you
Hmm.
know,
Very
hello,
professional. Yeah.
cordial and busy, and,
Hmm.
meeting him in a hallway, going from probably meeting to meeting or whatever. But he
Yeah.
always would take time and say hello and be
Hmm.
cordial and
Hmm.
professional and everything to me.
Yeah. What about The Rock, one of the biggest stars in the world?
Yes,
You got to
I
meet
have
The
met
Rock.
The Rock. Yes, I have met The Rock. I've met him a couple times.
Hmm.
Very nice, polite, humble, very nice guy.
Wow, that's cool. That's really good.
Mhm.
Your father's legacy. I mean, your dad is your dad, but like as a father, husband, or a person, the fans, what do they want to know about so and so that maybe we don't know about your dad? Something we don't know.
Um, Something you don't know about my dad.
Like, does he have a hobby that no one knows about? Where it's maybe knitting or who knows, whatever, something crazy.
He has his hobby is his koi pond. He has a koi pond.
Okay.
I've posted it a few times on my socials. Anytime I've been able to go there, I call it my happy place, but he'll go out there and sit and feed the fish. And,
Hmm.
his
Yeah.
hobby is relaxing. And I think
Yeah.
he deserves that.
Yeah. Is that where you have like it's like a metal bird or something? I think I seen a picture.
Yeah,
That's
it's like a crane or
yeah.
something like that. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's his pond. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any of his memorabilia by any chance?
I do have some of his memorabilia. I don't have a lot of it displayed,
Hmm.
but I do have a lot of it. And my dad, I kind of had to ask him to stop bringing me memorabilia because I was like, "Do you think I have a shrine of you somewhere, like in my home?" Like I don't. And like I
No.
have to find a place to put all of this stuff.
Hmm.
And um, uh, yeah, I do
Yeah.
have some stuff. I have some of the more expensive,
Okay.
rare
Yeah.
things.
I'm,
Yeah.
I'm, I'm friends with a lot of the wrestlers' sons, like Travis Orndorff, who's the son of Paul Orndorff. And I don't know if you ever experienced this, but wrestling fans can be a little bit crazy. Yeah, I'm sure you realize that. We're a little bit nutty, right? You ever been around your dad when like maybe you're eating and they just bum rush them and just say, "Hey, can I get?" It's kind of tough, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it all the time, but we were used to it.
You're used
And
to it.
yeah, and it's funny because my dad, we would be eating somewhere or out somewhere, and my dad would say to my sister and I, like, "All right, girls, we got to go. You've just been recognized."
Oh wow.
Like he'd tell us that we'd been recognized, and
Hmm.
so we're like, "Okay," and then we're like trying to get out of there like as fast as possible. Like, "Check, please! Like, let's
Hmm.
get out of here," because we knew it was going to
It's
be
gonna get really.
at least 30 minutes before we were going to be able to get to the car, because once one person asks, then that allows other people to ask, and then
Yep.
other people feel like they can ask, and then all of a sudden
Hmm.
everybody's asking, and now he's surrounded. And um yeah, my dad and I and my husband went to a bar near where my dad lives on the night before Thanksgiving one year,
Okay.
and we his my dad's friend was playing in a band, and so we went to see the band play, and we were having a great time, having a couple beers. And I took a selfie with my dad, because I was like, "Hey, Dad, let's take a selfie." So I took a selfie, and the flash went off. And as soon as I did that, we had a bum rush of people
Oh,
coming in asking for pictures. And
mm,
I turned to my dad and I just was like, "I'm sorry. Like
oh no.
I wouldn't have taken the picture had I known that it was gonna start that." He
Mm-hmm,
was like, "It's okay." My dad's never he's always generous with his time with his fans.
mm-hmm,
He's loves his fans.
mm-hmm.
I don't think he's really ever turned down an autograph.
No.
Maybe once or twice because it was not an appropriate time to be asking him for one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he takes time to spend with his fans, and so that's why we were always like, "Let's get out of here," because we knew it was going to be forever.
Yeah. Was he very protective of your, private space when you guys were out? Because sometimes you see a wrestler's kid and they kind of move, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Was he very protective?
Yeah, and also, Sergeant Slaughter, I don't think had kids. So if he was
That's true.
like, part of the gimmick and he was trying to like,
Hmm.
um he he never talked about like in interviews and things, if he was doing an interview with Sarge, which
Yep.
every interview he does, he's Sarge.
Yes, he is.
um, you know, they would ask about his kids and he would say he didn't have kids. And I would ask him, like, "Dad, why do you say that? Because you do have kids." And he's like, "Well, Sarge doesn't have kids."
Mhm.
Now, if people ask, he will talk about us now because the business is different
Yeah, this is
than it
totally different.
was.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the big difference between Sergeant Slaughter and Robert Remus? There's a big difference there.
Yeah. Yes. So Sarge, is in your face yelling drill instructor, screaming at you, giving you orders,
Hmm.
demanding that you give 20 to go down and give 20 and stuff. If my dad tried that with me, I'd laugh and be like, whatever.
You could
Be like,
probably
go sit
pick him up.
down.
Yeah, you'd probably be able to pick him up and throw him this time. Yeah.
At this point, yeah.
You mentioned your husband. Your husband know that if he ever got online, your dad could put him in the camel clutch or the cobra clutch.
Yeah. Yeah. My dad made that clear very early on to all
Oh, I'm
of my
sure.
boyfriends.
I'm sure that's what I was gonna say. It must have been hard dating when your dad is who he was and as big as he was.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. I never got asked out a whole lot because of that. I don't think. They were scared.
I'm sure they were scared.
Yeah.
So where's Kelly's journey gonna go? Are you gonna still be working out and still doing what you have to do? You still enjoy working out and keep doing that progress?
Yes.
That's
I
good.
love working out. I work out 4 times a week lifting, and then I have a day of like cardio, or I'll do like a core day or something like
Hmm.
that. But I'm in the gym 5 days a week.
That's great.
Um, I make it a priority. It's the first thing I do in the morning after I get my kids to school. I go right to the gym.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I plan vacations around it. Like,
That's good. That's really good.
so yeah, like I'm always going to be working out in some capacity. Hopefully,
Mhm,
my body allows me to continue
mhm,
doing it.
mhm.
Um, but I don't know. I run a tattoo studio,
Oh,
and
do you?
so
I saw
I'm
your tattoos. Yeah,
hoping.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I run a tattoo studio. It's called Sink or Swim. It's in Fort Mill, South Carolina, and we've got some amazing, amazing artists there. And I love running that studio. I love the artists that I work with.
Mhm.
It's funny because I'm like, I am surrounded by such talented people and such amazing artists, and like what they come up with and what they can do, not only in paintings and murals and things like that, but on somebody's skin. Like, how do you
Yeah.
make a portrait of someone? Like, they've got a picture of someone on their leg. How
Yep.
do they do that? I'm like, I'm surrounded by such talent, and I'm like drawing stick figures and like little hearts. Like my
Mhm,
doodles are like hearts and like swirls and
mhm,
spirals and
mhm.
flowers, and
Yeah.
their doodles are like a whole profile of some beautiful woman with gorgeous hair.
Oh, wow. And where's the studio located? Where is it located? So people know.
It's in Fort Mill, South Carolina.
Okay.
It's
And
right
where
on the border of Charlotte.
Okay. And where can people find you on Instagram? Where are you?
So you can find me on Instagram at Slaughter Daughter Official. I'm on Facebook, Slaughter Daughter. I'm on YouTube, Slaughter Daughter.
Okay.
Kelly Slaughter, also on Facebook, although I'm not really on there that much. I'm more on the public Slaughter Daughter Facebook profile than the Instagram.
Hmm.
I do have TikTok. I don't post on there a lot.
No, you don't post that.
And Twitter. So,
Okay. That's
or
really cool.
X, sorry.
Yes. Well, I appreciate your time. I'm going to keep following you, and hopefully, maybe you might want to even, maybe you'll get into bodybuilding someday, and maybe get on stage someday. Because you have
Oh
it.
yeah, that would be a dream for sure. But my nutrition, man, I like that ice cream.
I know. I have problems with that too. They do make protein ice cream, but it doesn't taste the same.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
exactly. Well, Kelly, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time. Your dad was a
Thank
legend,
you.
and I want to thank you so much for coming on with me.
Thank you so much for having me.
You got it. Have a good night. Take care.
Bye.
Started from nothing. Jersey streets, we owned it. JZ pumping iron.